My name is Sue Gale, and I own Fairfield Nutrition. And I was excited to get this meeting organized for all of us today because it's such a great opportunity. I'm really glad you're all here to find out about the fun and the profit of being in RAGBRAI and what it can do for our community and for all of our businesses and our families. So we've got some facts that we've got organized from all the people in the committee, and you're going to hear from some of them today, and you'll have some resources to refer to afterwards. So I can't think of anyone better to head off the vision of what RAGBRAI is going to be like here in Fairfield than our coordinator of the RAGBRAI festivities, Michael Halley.
Thank you, Sue. I'm actually one of several coordinators. It's a big job. It takes a lot of help. So basically, we have an opportunity. On July 26th, 15,000 to 20,000 people will be visiting our town. And they will be hungry and they will be thirsty. And we can all profit by feeding them. And the name of the game is basically follow the guidelines. We didn't set these guidelines. We didn't create them. RAGBRAI created them. RAGBRAI is responsible for their 10,000 riders. In terms of food and drink, they cannot take the risk of food poisoning. So they require health inspections for all food and drink vendors. So there are some rules that are in place in terms of who sells and how that works. But the fee to be a vendor can be dwarfed by the profits or the potential profits. We have vendors who tell stories of making $10,000 in a day at RAGBRAI. So if you're paying $350 or $600 for a vendor's fee, that's quickly dwarfed by your profit for the day. In terms of merchants who already have stores, who think maybe I'll put something on the sidewalk, we need to be careful about that as well. The sidewalks will be very full that day downtown. And we just want to make sure your merchandise is safe and our pedestrians are safe. So to that end, the city, I'm on the city council, and we put a city ordinance in place that's just for the day of the 26th and 27th. I've got a copy with me. I'll talk about that later. It's nothing major. It basically just spells out the vendor fees and a few of the rules for the day. I think I've mentioned most of them, so it's not a long list, but it's just about safety and to ensure that everyone who's visiting has a good time, and anyone who wants to sell is just basically certified that your food is coming from a safe place, a certified kitchen. Sue, who's next on the list here?
Why don't we just morph right into, since everyone's really interested in the vending possibilities, we'll talk about how you can set up your business best. Most people are arriving from 9 to 4. That day they're going to be wanting to refresh, they're going to want to then eat and then be entertained. So you get a flow for the day. I think the best thing to do is talk about how the downtown is set up and then talk about more of the vending rules. Tammy, would you like to do a little or all of that? Great.
All of it.
I've got the outline right here for the points. Okay. Here and here. Cool.
As of right now, the square is going to be pretty much the focal point of the activities. On the north side of the square, we're going to have our main stage for the entertainment. That's the Spasmatics. If you guys want to Google the Chicago Spasmatics. They're a riot. Should be a good draw. Prior to that, we will have the Sidewinders, which is the 34th Army Band. Their rock band will play, and then the Green Band on the main stage. So that should be a pretty good lineup. And then we do have Jeremy Rowland and Tim Carey has a band, some local people that'll be playing on the side stage. We'll also have a circus. It's from Peru, Indiana, and it's a bunch of kids that are going to circus school. And they will be performing twice on the side street over on Main. And we're hoping that we can fill Burlington, because we have Burlington closed from Main to B. And we're hoping we can fill Burlington with vendors. It's a great opportunity. to make some money, to be involved, to have some fun, to meet some really neat people. So, I don't know, I have a beverage garden sponsored by Golden Eagle, Michelob, that will take the east half of Central Park and the street on Court, and then part of it will go down in front of like the Ledger and stuff as well. So then the west half of the Central Park will be, bring your blankets or your lawn chairs or whatever if you think there will be room, but I wouldn't necessarily count on it. But it will be family friendly. Beverage garden you have to be 21 to enter. And unfortunately that includes you bring your 2-year-old kid, you don't go in with your kids. So you have to be 21 regardless. But do you guys have any questions?
Probably will later.
Okay.
I want to tell them fees and the size of the space.
Oh, the space for the vendors are 25 by 25, which we wanted to allow a lot of space. Looking back at other towns, they're normally like 10 by 10 or 12 by 12. So we allowed additional space. Vendor fees for nonprofits are $350, and for-profit is $600. To facilitate everything that we're planning, we have to add additional electricity all along the square, which is kind of expensive. So we are charging a $75 fee for electricity if you need to use that. And we are asking for a $100 refundable cleanup deposit. And if you pay that in a separate check, we're not planning on cashing those. So if your vending area is clean, we'll just give you your check back. But the vending fees are to help facilitate and to pay for the entertainment and the law enforcement, because we have a lot of additional expense on all of that as well. Yep.
I'm with a nonprofit, and we're considering bringing in another organization to work with us.
That'd be great.
To help us, but it's a for-profit company. So, how would that work with the...
That I'm not real sure about. I just meet with me or with Kim Welsh is actually the one that's chairing that section. Get my contact information and I'll meet with you separately. Unfortunately, I have to leave shortly, so not today, but yeah.
And for the vendors that have a storefront, what are the fees for them?
If it's your store and your normal activity, there is no fee. Okay? It needs to stay, you need to keep it in your business, not move it outside.
Oh, no, I'm talking about if you put a table outside your business.
If you don't normally have a table outside your business, then no.
Then, but what's the fee?
Then it would just be, we were talking about that the other day, and I don't know that we ever decided.
I don't think that we did either. Mainly because the city ordinance, and Mike might be able to speak to this better, the city ordinance basically has some language to it that says if it's not part of your normal everyday operation currently, as far as what you do right now, and technically it was as of the date that the ordinance was passed, then that will not be permitted the day of RAGBRAI. So if your business, as of the date that the ordinance was passed, did not have a table out in front of it on a regular basis, that will not be permitted. I guess the other way of keeping that in context is if your business is on the square, we really do need those sidewalks to be as open and free as possible, because there's going to be so many people on those sidewalks that they're going to be a main thoroughfare. And probably if you put a table out in front of your business, there's a good chance that it's just going to get trampled on, because there's going to be so many people trying to get through. So it's a way to protect your merchandise and your property, as well as make it easier for the guests that are coming to Fairfield.
I mean, we have to pay for the sidewalks, to repair the sidewalks, it's our space, it's our property. So I'm having a little bit of an issue. I don't mean to give you grief, but I'm having a little bit of an issue with that, so.
That's something Michael can address more than I can.
Thank you.
The sidewalk's similar to the right-of-way in front of a property. It's actually the city's property that you're responsible for maintaining. It's one of those things that most people don't like to hear, but this isn't like a sidewalk sale day. like, the chamber sometimes holds. We're really discouraging people from putting stuff on the sidewalk for that day. You will get more traffic in your store than you can handle. We're talking over 10,000 people. So you really need to think about your employees and how they're best able to serve the customers that you'll have. If you want to try to go outside, it might not turn out for the best for you. So we're trying to discourage people from putting stuff on the sidewalks on the square.
And speaking as a merchant and an owner of a property on the square, what I've been understanding from this whole process is that you should do what you do best. And there's an advantage to having property on the square, which is that you have air conditioning and interest inside. So do service enough people, have enough merchandise or food or whatever, but don't even try and think about doing, a specialty item that you don't normally do if you're a restaurant. People are coming to find out what Fairfield has. And so make your uniqueness your advantage, and it will ultimately, in the long run, I think, be more profitable. So, the man in the back.
I missed this, I apologize ultimately. There's outside entertainment coming in?
Yes, there'll be entertainment on the square, probably starting about 2 until 11:30.
That's all been booked up?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Back to the point about the sidewalks, what about businesses that normally have like a signboard out?
If it's always out, you can still have it out as the time of the ordinance. But again, I would hesitate to do that because the crowd, it's not going to be seen. It's going to be knocked over and probably inevitably gotten moved or, whatever.
Talk about a little bit about where the fencing will be. So, for example, on the north side of the square, that going, where that's going to be located and how that's situated on the square.
So the north side of the square, we will have the north side and the east side will all be fenced off, and we have to have 2 fences 10 foot apart. So we're planning on putting the first fence, the outside fence would be along the sidewalk, so the complete sidewalk will be open. But we're going to take that parking on the north side and on the east side. So the sidewalk is all that's going to be open all the way around the square on the north side and the east side. So there won't be any other traffic areas to get through those to those businesses except for the sidewalk. Yep.
You said you're closing Burlington from Main to B, correct?
Yes.
How are you rerouting traffic?
It will turn and go south on 1, and then, where's Julie? I don't know the name of the street. Colin, what street are they going to on the detour? Down to Jackson or Washington or something like that? Yeah, and then around. It's my understanding that, we talked to the First National Bank, obviously, since we're closing that street, and they will still be open for regular business, but their drive-through will not be open that day for regular business.
So for Jet Stop, it would be a similar,
Yes,
they can
you would
come
get
from
in
the
on-
east or the south.
Right. Yep.
I'm just trying to understand, okay, that's Burlington, so for all day Friday, what about Court? What about?
Closed.
Court will be totally closed.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What's that going to do to regular business?
It will be tough. It will be tough. People will have to be walking. Yeah, we will start setting up probably Thursday night as far as in on the park and stuff, but not necessarily officially closing the streets until I believe 6 o'clock Friday morning.
Do you know, Colin?
What's that?
Are we closing the streets at 6 a.m.?
No, the streets won't be closed until around 9. We're actually going to get a heads up when the bicyclists start coming from Pack.
No, we're talking about on the square.
Oh.
Yeah. Yep.
Early, yeah, Friday morning sometime. They're going to try and keep Burlington open as long as possible.
Right.
Are the alleys going to be closed for deliveries?
Yeah, probably.
So the question was for the viewers at home. We're recording this so you can tell everyone else that alleys will be closed, so you do want to plan to have your deliveries before Friday.
Any other questions? We will have a semi of ice down there if you're a vendor on the square, that you'll be able to get ice from us, because there's not going to be a lot of opportunity or ease in driving to Hy-Vee or the gas stations or whatever to get ice, so we will have that available. Does anybody have any questions?
I had a question about the commercial uses for RAGBRAI. So exactly what does that mean? Are we able to put on our webpage, welcome RAGBRAI riders, but not say we're selling such and such that day, or we cannot use that name at all?
You can welcome RAGBRAI riders, but you can't have a RAGBRAI sale or a RAGBRAI special. You can in your store obviously have specials for RAGBRAI people, but you can't promote it that way because it is a trademarked.
So you could just be more generic, like bike tour sale or.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's kind of like Super Bowl, the big game, you know.
Is there going to be any kind of a handout that they're going to receive?
Yes. We will have tabloids that all of the vendors will be listed in, and the maps of where everything is located, and those will be handed out in Oskaloosa the night before. And then there will also be a welcome center, an information center when they first come into town, that they'll be available there as well. Plus, I'm sure we'll have some on the square too.
Is that including general Fairfield businesses, or like things on everything uptown, everything on the square, or just the RAGBRAI vendors? Doing the 25 by 25 booths.
The RAGBRAI vendors will definitely be highlighted, obviously. That's part of the vendor fee and stuff, but there will be opportunities for other businesses as well to put something in that tabloid.
We'll go with, that's a good segue. Thank you so much, Tammy. We've got so much, logistics, but the inspiration and the possibilities as well. So Dennis is going to talk about the concept of why this is a moneymaker and the other good things, and answer your question.
Sure thing. My name is Dennis Lopp. I'm also one of the executive co-chairs for RAGBRAI. And to touch on your question about the thing, the tabloid, as what it's generically called through the RAGBRAI organization, is really an information packet that is printed, that is designed to go to the riders the day of the event. It's not necessarily as much for the local people, it's really for the 10,000 riders coming to town. And in that piece, there will be obviously a listing of all of the official RAGBRAI sponsors and vendors and all of that. So there's some opportunities for businesses to be on there. And then we are working with the ledger right now to come up with the pricing structure and things like that, because they will be the ones printing it and laying it out for us as to how somebody who just wants to advertise directly to the riders, what that fee will be and how that will work. So that will be rolling out here very soon as we can get all those numbers pulled together. So there will be opportunities, but the easiest way to get in that tablet is either A, be a vendor, or B, be a sponsor, and the sponsorships are also rolling out very soon as well. So for me, certainly RAGBRAI is, and I'm going to piggyback on what Sue said, is that it is a tremendous opportunity for our local merchants and our nonprofit organizations, but it really comes down to your planning and making sure that it is, that you know what your business does well, and that's what you need to focus on. And I don't know that we as a RAGBRAI committee can hammer that home enough, that, especially if you're a business on the square, simply opening your doors and taking care of your customers will make you a lot of money. If you can give good customer service and give them the products that they're in your store for, you will do very well that day. So for us as a committee, if you have not heard about it, one thing, in my notes that are in your packet is staying tuned to the weather and all of that. Terry at the Convention and Visitors Bureau has put together a really wonderful Fairfield, Iowa app that you can download on your iPhone or your Google phone, whatever. And that is a great way, because there is a RAGBRAI tab on that application So it's a really great way, especially in case of inclement weather that day, heaven forbid, that people stay in tune to the weather, that sort of thing. Most of your riders will start arriving around 9 a.m. I would expect, because it is a short ride coming into Fairfield that day, I would think a lot of them will be here by 9 or by noon. Sorry. And I think that especially if you're a church or a nonprofit organization, potentially a lunch might be a really good opportunity for you, because the heaviest meal traffic will be in the evening. That's certainly, they're going to be looking for supper, but there will be some opportunities out there for somebody wanting to serve lunch as well. So keep that in mind too. So and really, local merchants, the biggest way to participate, and I don't have mine on today, but Sue is modeling hers, is the t-shirt program. Our Fairfield RAGBRAI t-shirt, we're very proud of. Josie Hannes designed the logo for us, and Fairfield Line is our manufacturer for them. And we really wanted to take this and make it into maybe something different than what's been done with t-shirts in the past, and that is they are a walking coupon. We would like as many local businesses as possible to step up and offer some sort of a discount or some sort of an item that on starting June the 28th and every Friday going to RAGBRAI, which is a total of 5, that we are designating those as RAGBRAI Fridays in Fairfield. And we want people wearing their t-shirts on those days to receive something when they come into your business. It doesn't have to be, a big thing, but whatever it is. We already have about 4 or 5 businesses on board already. And the point of it is that we really want to be able to drive business back to our local merchants through really one of the primary funding sources that the committee has, and that is the RAGBRAI t-shirt. So we do have a form for you to complete if you are a business owner and you wish to participate. We do have a form for you to complete. It just simply states what business you are and what it is you're offering, just so that we can get that into some of the promotional pieces. And basically we will take charge of promoting those and listing that out and getting that out to the public and all of that. So it's a great opportunity, again, in the 5 Fridays leading up to RAGBRAI, to drive some business back into your storefronts. So, any questions?
Are you going to talk about pricing?
4.
Like first,
No, 4.
Pricing for what?
like food and things like that. Like
Oh.
what do they recommend?
Her question was, what do they recommend for like food and that sort of thing? And Tammy, you can probably touch on it more. First thing, one thing that when I talk about planning and all of that is really understanding your customer that's coming at you. These are 10,000 people that have been riding a bike, across the state now for at this point 5 days. But they obviously are going to want, primarily healthy things. So fresh fruit, granola bars, things that, are going to refuel them, certainly pastas and that sort of thing.
If you have,
We have vendors at fairfieldragbrai.com is an email. You can email your questions there, but also once we get all the vendors in, part of the form is you let us know what you're serving and what you think your prices are. So, and we're going to try very hard not to have a lot of duplicates. But, if we see that everyone else is priced, kind of like here, but yours is clear up here, we'll let you know so that we can kind of keep everything in check and make it fair to everyone if possible. Vendors at fairfieldragbrai.com. That's the email. And I also have, if you want to email me at that address, I have a packet of stuff I can email you, of just kind of suggestions and what has worked in the past. Yes, sir?
My question was on the vendor booths. Is it first come, first served as far as where they're placed?
Well, a lot of it will depend on, it'll be first come, first served, but a lot of it will be dependent on electricity needs as well.
as far as booth placement.
As far as booth placement, yes. Yes?
What about Wi-Fi for those vendor booths? If I want to be taking credit cards with a tablet or something like that?
Should be fine. That's what we're hoping, because we're going to be trying to do that in the beverage garden as well.
So there will be a new network set up up for this?
Well, then the Google truck is coming in for.
Right, we do have the Google, but I don't think the Google truck can support that because the Google truck can only, so Google is working with RAGBRAI on a statewide effort, and they have a portable Wi-Fi truck, basically, that they have, they're experimenting with and that they're bringing as part of this event. And that will be close to the square, but I think it can only hold like 40 people at a time. It has some capacity limits, so they may fix it by then, I don't know, but
I didn't know that, but
yeah,
we're hoping that we will have Wi-Fi because we're planning on using it as well.
So.
But they can only have 40 people at once out of 10,000?
Mm-hmm.
40.
I didn't say it was a great solution. I just said it was a solution.
Big opportunity for frustration. So.
Yeah, I know. And that's again, it's what we were told when we went to our last RAGBRAI committee meeting in Des Moines was that it's an experimental thing that Google is creating. They saw this as an opportunity to partner with a really large event. I mean, just to put it in scope, one of the little factoids about RAGBRAI is that it is the largest non-competitive sporting event in the world. Okay? And so they saw it as a great opportunity to really invent something that hadn't been done before, and that was trying to get Wi-Fi access to a large number of people in an open space. So,
talking to other towns, though, as far as like the beverage garden and vendors and stuff, a lot of towns have used like the square that you hook up to your tablet or your phone or whatever, and none of them have said that it has ever been an issue. So we're kind of banking on that. Now, how all that works, I guess I can't tell you, but it hasn't been an issue in the past in other communities. So.
And we are asking our local cellular providers to beef up their systems that day as best as possible to ensure that cell phone connectivity is maintained. It's somewhat of a trick, but we are asking them to do what they need to do to maintain that connectivity stays here. I'm going to go to the lady behind you because she had a question first.
My question is, what is the deadline, the cutoff for getting in your applications for being a vendor so that you
June
can
1st. June 1st.
Right. And that's also an important thing too, is right now that June 1st deadline is really designed for the local people and for the local organizations, and that we want you to have that opportunity to get your foot in the door, to say what you want to do so that Tammy and her committee can look and make decisions on that. And then at June 1st, that door opens to people outside of our community. And so if June 1st rolls around and we have a lot of vendors and we're great with the people that we have, then the out-of-town vendors don't necessarily get as much of a play inside of Fairfield as what our locals would. But if June 1st rolls around and we have one or two vendors, then we have to go to the outside vendors to do it, and that's not really what we as a committee want to do. So we want the local people to participate and to be a part of the event.
And then after sometime probably mid-June, first part of July, there will be a vendor meeting with Tina, the health inspector. So, and she will be able to answer a lot of questions there as well.
Okay.
One question in terms of food, and I know it would be helpful to know exactly, or at least generally, what kind of restrictions there are on preparing food, so we know what to do, and if we can do it before the June 1st deadline.
You could probably, the best bet would probably be to go online. I was hoping to be able to meet with her before this meeting, but she was unable to be able to answer a few more of those questions. But it's my understanding it needs to be an approved or a certified kitchen to be able to be served.
It does.
Mm-hmm. How about if you're cooking outside? If you're grilling or something like that?
That is fine. She will still, she will come and inspect you that day. And you will need to have all of your necessary permits and licenses and all of that are required to be outside. And they, and I wish I knew her website, but if you Google the health inspector of the state of Iowa, it'll take you to their website, I'm sure. And there's a bunch of information on there about your rules and regulations as far as serving food outside and what's allowed, what's not allowed. But they give you a lot of parameters. But she will be there that day to inspect you and sign off on what you're doing. But for the most part, if you are going to make something and package it and sell it, it needs to be made in a certified inspected kitchen. It cannot be done out of your home, for example. It has to, unless your home has been certified and inspected. So, Rustin, did you have a question?
It's the Iowa Department of Inspection and Appeals.
There you go. Thank you. He is a wealth of knowledge.
Can you repeat that again for the mic?
That is the Iowa Department of Inspections and Appeals.
What's that?
And the health inspector for our area her name is Tina, and her last name begins with a V. It's Verstay, I believe. Vandenberg. There you go. There you go. Yes, ma'am.
When you said she'll come and inspect the vendors that day, are you talking about RAGBRAI Day?
Yes. Yep. So she will be around that day with her team of inspectors, and they will be looking for a lot of things. Yes, ma'am.
There will be an area for the rider to leave their bicycle?
Yes, yes, there will be.
The question was, will there be a place for riders to leave their bicycles? And that's going to be well taken care of, because that's the main transportation, right?
Yeah.
Great. Can I thank you guys, and if there's more questions later, we'll come back to them.
Sure.
Because I just want to put in for us, again, in terms of marketing, some parameters. He said they're coming, it's the largest event, they're coming from around the world. And the people that are coming, you see the what do you call it, profile. You know, they're people that are interested in exploring, and you know, they're looking forward to coming to Fairfield as something that's very unique. And know that our reputation precedes us, right? So the other thing to keep in mind is that while they may want healthy food, they're getting that on the road, so that later in the day you want to be able to have more substantial food. In the afternoon they might want to refuel, you know, with fruit and granola bars, but in the evening they want a good meal. So the next thing I want to talk about is the fun part that really makes RAGBRAI unique and that we can, again, capitalize on. And so I'm going to invite Josie Hannes of the Publicity and Creativity Committee to come on up.
Hello. So I guess what we would say for decorating that we want to accomplish is it's defying gravity, and it's a Cirque du Soleil type of fill, which is it's a higher standard of a circus. So it's not, we don't, with decorating, we want our town square to be awesome, but we don't want to have, we want to stray away from a typical circus and elevate it up. So how to do that, I would say we're going to have lots of pendants and crazy stuff to bring your eye up to the sky, but we also want to have a lot of exotic type of decor. So when you're decorating, I mean, looking at the shirt, you know, if you want to look at the, you know, the stripes and the funky swirls and the clouds and the birds, those are all elements that you can use. What's that? Oh yeah, and mustaches, yes, we have a list here. So yeah, stripes would be great. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything difficult, but just if we want it to be unified, if we can just kind of look at the logo, and then if you want to look at Cirque du Soleil, it's all bright colors and funky. It's not just clowns and cut out elephants and stuff like that. So I guess that's where we're trying to go with it. So.
And also find inspiration in that 1920s, 1930s like circus. You know, that really old-fashioned sort of back when circus performers were performers and they had a craft. Think about that as well.
We're going to try to get some different artists to do banners that we're going to hang on the, what are they called?
Lampposts?
Yes, thank you. So, and we do want to bring that older vintage circus feel into it also. So, and we need help. So if anybody wants to lend a hand, we would gladly take you. Yeah, I mean, we need people that can do woodworking and, you know, cut things out. I don't know, it's going to be a big task, but
especially the merchants, if they can help with their windows, that's gonna, that's really gonna help because it's such a big space. And if we can count on everybody to help, and we can have later meetings so we can all kind of try to be on the same page with it. But does anybody have any questions?
Tell them about the entrance when people first come in.
Oh, okay. So when they come into Grimes right now, what we're trying to do is we want to have the big, when they come in, we want it to look really grand. So we couldn't find anyone that would build a big tunnel for us, which we knew that would be a stretch. So we're going to try to, with rope, have 4 big telephone poles placed, and then with rope, and that's a guy thing that I don't quite understand, but they're, gonna have rope going all the way across, and then with those, whatever they are, those things that make them really tight, and then they're gonna put a pole in the middle of it, and then it'll come down to the 4 poles, and then we're gonna make it very circusy, with stripes and all that stuff, and outside of it have more cutouts of posters or animals or anything funky, and then that will create a photo op. And we're going to have hot air balloons on the soccer field, and it should be really cool.
So how far into town is it?
I don't think we've quite nailed that down yet. It'll be somewhere like what's it, Livewire or?
Yeah, it'll be around the soccer field area.
Yeah, somewhere before that.
That's considered the main entrance, and then they just disperse from there, or they continue down Grimes? or-
Well,
Want me to talk about that?
yeah, they turn off.
So, when they come into town, they will be coming on Brookville Road from Packwood. They will turn onto Grimes, and then their first stop really is going to be the Dexter soccer fields, and we will have the first RAGBRAI information booth at that point. And there'll be various spots for them to park their bike. They're going to go to a variety of tents. There'll be volunteers at those tents that can then direct them to where they need to go. Because once they get to town, it's going to be, I'm staying at this campground, how do I get there? Or, I'm staying at this person's house, this address, how do I get there? So the information booth people will then disperse them at that point with a route that's hopefully easiest and safest to get them through town. But the official route goes all the way down Grimes to 6th Street, and at 6th Street they will turn south, and then they will go to, help me with the next street? Briggs. And at Briggs they will go all the way through to Chautauqua Park. And that is the official RAGBRAI route. So if you're a business on that route, that day of, on that Friday, you're going to have a lot of traffic on that day, and Grimes will be shut down. Is that correct? I believe so. Grimes will be shut down to traffic that day?
Yes.
Yes. So.
Sorry, they'll go down Broadway to the...
No, they will go Grimes to 6th Street, turn south, and go to Briggs, and then Briggs all the way to Chautauqua. Yeah. I'm sure there will be people on...
Briggs to D.
Oh, to D, I'm sorry.
So they will be coming down Broadway from D Street to Chautauqua. Okay. And so the cross streets there, is there going to be... Are they going to be blocked off to all the residential? So like if I live on Prom, I won't be able to cross Broadway?
I was going to say the official route will also be put on the website, so you'll have all of that on the website as well. So.
But generally the question will be that day, all of us will have to be alert to where we might have to make a detour to do our usual activities as a citizen. Yeah.
Will you be closing 6th Street as well?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And and kind of what Sue said, part of our goal as a committee is also, as citizens of Fairfield, we know this event is coming. We know this event is going to cause a day and a half, of maybe a little bit more, maybe 2 days of congestion in our town. It's a worthwhile congestion, but that being said, that may not be the day to try to go to your doctor or your dentist, or like try to, or get your prescriptions. Get some of that done ahead of time. I mean, try to plan that ahead, or just say you're going to wait till afterwards. So that's part of that information.
It's like a holiday.
Correct. It really is.
Yeah.
And do you have suggestions of where vendors should park? In other words, how far away do we need to, or do you have no suggestions? Get your bike out.
If you have a donkey with a back, I don't, honestly. And I don't know that we as a committee are that really far in our planning, unfortunately. And Tammy's committee might have that, and she's not here now, but they may have a better plan for that, later on. But we will certainly, as we go along, have suggestions and that sort of thing. So the other thing, too, is that even as a citizen, there will be shuttles available the day of the event that are running to get people, mainly the riders and everything, but those shuttles will be available, too, and that might help with some of the citizens being able to get downtown and, get to where they need to go as well. So.
And just as a matter of logistics, so for people that have these vending spaces, you need a lot of supplies. It seems to me it's not going to be easy to leave your site and go to your kitchen to get additional supplies.
That would be
Everything
correct.
needs to be on site.
Her question is that the vendors that are on site need to have a lot of supplies, and yep, that's absolutely true. It's going to be somewhat cumbersome for somebody, an employee or a volunteer, to leave the site and travel to get more supplies, whether that's at your store location or, Hy-Vee, Walmart, wherever the case may be. It's going to take them a while to go there and get back, especially in the prime times of that, late afternoon, early evening. It's going to be congested downtown. Yes, ma'am.
Is there anyone on any of these committees who, or someone like me that's not in the food business, that we may want to do work for fruit or granola bars or drinks or whatever it might be, can give us an idea of how much to actually buy so that we have a sense of?
I can. I mean, it's my job. But yeah, I can. I can meet with you one-on-one and do that. That's we can give you a good idea there. So, yes, sir.
Would it be possible to see a map, or will that be on the website soon, of exactly where the beverage garden is going to be in relationship to, you said it's going to kind of run all the way up against the sidewalk on the north and east side of the square.
Yep.
It'll be on Burlington, and that's just the beverage garden. I assume there's going to be beer or whatnot there.
Correct.
But vendors will not be able to be in the beverage garden if they have beverages.
Correct. Yeah. And that a part of that is that obviously there's an agreement with our beverage garden sponsor, which is Golden Eagle. There are limitations and also laws, requirements, all of that we have to abide by. So the vendors will be, and I think one of the things to kind of maybe put in frame of context is what we really would like to see is along Burlington on that south side of the square and on that section that's closed off of Burlington. We think about it as like a street fair sort of thing. That's really what I think the atmosphere we're going for is that, again, I've been to Des Moines, Iowa City, Cedar Rapids a lot, and it's very common to see that sort of an atmosphere in their downtown areas, and that's really what we're going for.
So just to follow up to that, for the vendor spaces, you said 25 by 25 squares. How many lots are there currently for that, and so we can have an idea of how that's going to go up, or what is the traffic flow like through that in terms of alleyways through vendors? Are we stacked up like train cars style along next to each other, or so we only have one 25-foot section in front of us? I assume that's what it's going to be, not that we have like an L 25 on both sides, or.
It's my understanding there'll be vendors on each side of Broadway, with the traffic pattern going down the middle. That's how I understand it. Am I correct in that, Michael? And that again, that people can walk through and take a look. And I think what you will find is that most riders. I do this at a street fair, so I don't think that I'm that uncommon. But walk through it all and see what everybody has to offer, and then they make their decisions from there. I think you'll see a lot of people walking and circling, and then making their decisions as to what they're going to buy from there. But I think certainly healthy, unique things that really represent Fairfield are going to do well in that sort of. Burlington. Sorry, did I say Broadway? I apologize.
Is there going to be, or perhaps already is as well, list of like rules and such for the vendor, like
that's all.
Guidelines beyond what I've seen on this vendor info sheet?
Absolutely, and the vendors at fairfieldragbrai.com, that email address can get you that information. But they also have, the vendors committee has packets of information to give and that tell you what's permitted, what's not permitted, that sort of thing. So
There's some basic guidelines on the website with the vendor application.
okay, and so just visit the website. The website does have a lot of information. It's a really good resource to start with. And if you don't find the answer to your question there right away, then there are a list of email addresses that you can email, and it goes to the appropriate committee, and they're generally pretty quick to get back to you. So, yes.
You said the return was on the northeast side of the square.
The north and the east. Yeah.
Where do you guys have plans for porta potties?
Those, for the most part, are they flanking the square? I know that the one main area. Oh, the question is where the porta potties go, and most of those are going to go down. Again, help me with the street name, but it's the street between Josie's shop, Broadway, and the Ledger, down in that area. And then will there be some on the other side as well, between Torino's and the other businesses on the? There you go. Yeah, down by Walker's. There you go.
To be on the other side.
I don't know that answer. I don't know. I think they're probably more to the street, are they not? I believe. Anyway.
They should be in the street.
Yeah. I don't think they'll be like up against their buildings or anything. So. And there's a lot of them coming. I mean, there's a lot. That's one of the things that we as a committee, again, there are roughly 30 committees working to bring this event together. And one of the things that I was surprised by is just how much, especially on the city side of things, when you're bringing in 10,000, 20,000 extra people to your community, how much work has to go into beefing up your infrastructure as a city for that particular day. And I think that, those are all parts of it. And porta potties all, it's amazing to me when we get into that sort of information. Yes, sir?
Will there be any other vendor areas?
There will be.
Burlington?
There will be. There will be opportunities at some of the campgrounds, and those obviously are maybe a little bit more risk associated with those. But there will be people at the campgrounds.
What about the downtown area, like on Court Street north of the square or Main Street north of the square?
I'm going to say it depends on how many vendors we end up with. If we end up with more vendors than what Burlington can hold, then they will have to designate additional spaces. But right now, that's a decision that that's an unknown for us right now.
I think if I understand the question behind your question, John, there will be traffic flow past our businesses and past the vending booths on the street as well. I was also coordinating an event in the triathlon in Des Moines with the storefront, and the streets had the vending tents, but there were plenty of people coming, just streaming down both sides, so our business was not hidden. It was still completely accessible.
Yes.
You said that the Burlington is going to be closed off. It's going to be kind of like a festival of some sort. Can you describe to me what, the beer garden's in the northeast, so what are we going to have on Broadway? And do we have any porta potties down there? Or I'm sorry, Burlington.
On Burlington. So on Burlington, think that, for example, in the street itself, there will be vendor booths on each side of the street. So, basically in the parking areas is kind of what I envision on each side of the street. Not up on the sidewalks. Those sidewalks will remain open. And then that main traffic walking area will be then in the center of the street for people to walk through.
And are there porta potties going to be in that area too?
I don't believe so at this point. I would, what? No, I don't think that there will be. I think we're trying to congregate as many of the porta potties in a couple designated spaces as much as possible. And I think that's for a variety of reasons, but yeah.
The last time RAGBRAI came through here, how successful was it for Fairfield?
Everybody that was a vendor, I shouldn't say everybody, because I think there were some that didn't make as much money as they thought they were going to. I think they just overplanned maybe.
Oh, can I get down right? The city itself made money. We had, I think it was between $8,000 and $10,000 extra money that was given back to the community, different organizations, and I believe RAGBRAI's grown in the last 13 years. So I'm assuming Fairfield will make even more money this time, which the extra profit, that's not just the vendors, but the city and the RAGBRAI committee, from the vending fees you get, from the t-shirt sales, and then also RAGBRAI itself, when they're done at the end of the year, they give money back to the communities. So the city of Fairfield will have extra money, and that will be given back to the community too. So it was very successful 13 years ago. I believe it's going to be more so this year.
The route is a better route this year than it was last time too, because the route was south. They had to come north to Fairfield and then ride back south. So it was a very hot day, so a lot of people just didn't come that little jog where they have to come now.
What Pat was saying, I want to piggyback on that in the sense that, I like to make it very clear that the city does not fund this event. They have contributed towards this event. The RAGBRAI committee is responsible for the funding of this event, start to finish. And we are a temporary organization that is formed to put this event on. And so that's why sponsorships, t-shirt sales, fundraising, sales of the t-shirts and the beer garden, all of that becomes very vitally important to our committee because those are our only streams of revenue. So that being said, and your vendor fees as well. But that being said, should the event be profitable, which we as a committee fully anticipate that it will be, we certainly don't plan for a negative cash flow, but we want it to be a profitable event, and then that money through a grant process that will be again announced at a later time, all of the specifics, will be given back into the community. And that we as a RAGBRAI organization don't hold on to that. It doesn't go anywhere else. It really is designed to funnel money back into our community. And that I know that the executive co-chairs are really committed to making this as good of an event as we can for these 10, 20,000 people, but then at the same time to be able to really do some hopefully really impactful things back to our community as a result of this event. I mean, that's probably, I think, maybe one of the most reasons that we all signed up to do it and to really take on the second full-time job of organizing RAGBRAI for most of us.
One quick second, and we'll take your question. I just wanted to add that the beautification committee, talking about long-lasting value, is doing things to spiff up the downtown and like the parking lots. And I know the one that's by 2nd Street and Burlington, so things will look really good, and that'll be long-lasting, more attractive for people to come back and visit us. Yes?
Do you recommend extending your hours?
Extending your hours, absolutely. But in accordance to the time that the people are coming in, so don't, come at 6 a.m. when nobody's there. But, if you aren't open at 10, you should be, and you should be, the beverage garden's going till
11:30. 11:30.
So whatever's reasonable for you.
Yes?
In terms of the demographics, what is the percentage of people actually from Iowa versus outside of Iowa?
Okay, so demographic-wise, your average participant in RAGBRAI is 45 years old. A majority of them are male. Almost all are college educated. A majority of them have their own business. So you're talking, and the average income is in the 6 digits plus. So you're talking about a really good group of people coming to your community to start with. 2/3 of the people that participate in RAGBRAI come from outside of Iowa. So about 1/3 are Iowa citizens. Of that 2/3, over half are from outside the country. So it's a very diverse international group of people. But I think that, that demographic of being 45, primarily male, I don't want to use the word affluent, but, they have money to spend. And they're here to really experience what Iowa is about, but specifically what Fairfield is about. They want to see, we were chosen for a reason, and we need to put that reason forward. And that's what they want to see.
On Saturday, any event on Saturday, or do they leave?
We are planning an event. We are working with, so once they leave on Saturday, they're going to head Highway 1 out towards the villages of Van Buren County and Keosauqua. They're headed to Fort Madison that last day. And so we are partnering with, or we're doing an event at the Masden Barns. We're calling it Breakfast at the Barns. Jefferson County Hospital has agreed to sponsor some of that. And so, again, there might be some vendoring opportunities out there as well. Breakfast becomes a little bit of a challenge. A lot of the riders don't like to eat like a big, heavy breakfast first thing. They like to eat things like breakfast burritos, again, granola bars, maybe some fruit, just a little something to get, and coffee. They love coffee. But just something to get them kick-started in the morning so they can get about 30 or 40 miles down the road. And once they're about that far, so Keosauqua basically, that's when they'll really want breakfast at that point. But we are going to throw kind of a going away, thank you for visiting with us event at the Masden Barns. So.
Great. So we've come up to the hour that we promised you guys. I just want to reiterate, these guys are really a great resource. RAGBRAI has given everybody a playbook. So if you have any questions, do check the website, ask the committee, and just get involved in the community. I'd be happy to talk to everyone well as a business owner. As a matter of fact, I know we didn't have enough of these fact sheets for everyone, so I'll leave a place just to sign. Give us your email address, and I'll make sure you get the fact sheets. And then Terry's going to have the opportunity for the whole T-shirt as a coupon concept. So we'll end with that.
Yeah, so if you would like to participate in our coupon program, and this is simply, you're going to offer a free soft drink when you buy a slice of pizza, or whatever you want to do, 10% off on those particular days, whatever you'd like to offer, that's what we need to know about. And I need this form filled out so that we can get you on our website, we can put you on our social media, we can make sure that people know what you're offering. One other thing I want to mention is that when the RAGBRAI riders come into town, they travel light. So some of you who have stores that sell merchandise, they may be really fascinated with your merchandise, but they may not be able to take it with them. If you can offer some kind of thing where you can ship it for them or take care of that for them in some way, you're probably going to be more likely to sell some of your merchandise. So just keep that in mind, that they want to be a little bit light-handed when they're leaving town. They don't take a lot of things with them.
Just to comment on that, most of them don't have a vehicle traveling with them. RAGBRAI provides semi-trailers that they literally throw their backpacks and their clothes and everything into the semi-trailer, and RAGBRAI will transport those semi-trailers from town to town to town. They park that, you as a RAGBRAI rider go and get your stuff and collect it out and go then to your campground. So it really is what they can carry on their bikes is what they travel with. So they don't travel heavy. So I agree with Terry that if you can ship stuff for them, obviously you can charge for that, and, make accommodations for that. That's a really great way to do business. So.
Great. Thank you, Dennis and Josie and the whole committee and all of the people here that are, interested in, again, the fun and the long-term benefit and growth of Fairfield from this event. And I, for one, am really glad you were all here, and if you just want to come and get your email address so we can get you the information, and of course check with the website too. Okay, great. Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.